All right, so let's get into this part 2 of this 2-part video series on doing a SamCart first initial account setup as well as the tracking setup. So just to recap, in the first video, we got a demo account from SamCart. We then went in and set up our first product. We set up a second product at a higher price. We then set up 2 upsells from those products and we built our first funnel. We then went in and we installed basic tracking on our SamCart account as well as the entire funnel. So we went through the global tracking codes that you need to install in the settings area of SamCart. Then we went into the product in their advanced settings and did the actual product page scripts for both initiate, checkout, and purchase. We set those up for Facebook, so those were Facebook standard events. And then we went in and we tested the funnel and we tested to make sure all these Facebook standard events were firing. So at that point, you'd have, if you had been following along, you'll have a completely set up SamCart account. You'll have your first set of products, upsells, and a funnel that is working, and it's going to be tracking sales down to the dollar. So if you've already done that and you want to get into a more advanced tracking setup, which is what this video is going to be about, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what you're going to need to switch out in your tracking setup in order to go from a regular setup to this more advanced setup. Now, this is going to be useful if you're coming into someone's SamCart account, you're working with a client, or you have your own business that already had someone else messing with the tracking and setting that up, and you want to just start fresh. I'm going to show you all the tracking codes you need to take off the site and then what you're going to need to put in to do this more advanced setup. And again, this advanced setup is going to let you track things like product IDs, price variables. You're going to be able to add in your own custom variables to send to all your ads and analytics platforms. So it's going to make it a lot easier to get more specific data on what your customers are doing in your checkout. So if you guys are ready to do that, let's get into it. So the first thing that I'm going to do on this SamCart account is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take out the product specific scripts. I'm just going to do this exactly in the opposite order we did in the first video installing these. So I'm going to go into these products and I'm going to take out both the add to cart and the purchase scripts. So I'm going to do that real quick, and keep in mind on SamCart, it's real finicky with the saves. So make sure you're just saving everything all the time. You honestly can't save enough in this piece of software. So we're going to come out, you're going to delete these 2, save. I'm going to go back. We only have 2 more of these to do. You can always watch this on 3x if it's not working out for you. So we're going to go into the upsell, and then on my upsell, okay, there's no code on the upsells. We just had our code in the product. So our product codes are out. We no longer have Facebook standard events in our products. I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to take out the normal global tracking scripts. So right now we have a Google Analytics, Universal Analytics script, and a Facebook pixel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull these out and save these just in case we need these. Drop those there, and I'm going to open up the scripts that I'm going to be using in this video as well. So not save, let's just open it up on another tab right here. So we have those ready to go. Okay, so we have the Facebook all pages pixel, it's taken out. We have the Google Analytics script, it is taken out. So now we're going to start with the Google Tag Manager setup. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come and you're going to grab your Google Tag Manager codes. If I must have forgotten to tell you, you need to have a Google Tag Manager account. So if you don't have one and you're following along, just go ahead, pause the video, you can get one and sign up for free. So we're going to go over to a Google Tag Manager account. I already have an active account here, but I'm going to show you what you need to do with a brand new Google Tag Manager account just from scratch if we're setting up Shopify. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to grab my account code. So you're going to have a head script and a footer script. So we're going to take this and I'm going to drop this right here in the header section. So the top one is going to go in the header section. Then we're going to have the no script, and we're going to drop that second one in this bottom section. So that's all we have to do for settings. You can come up and you can save. I'll just do it right now. I want to point out right here at the start of the video that this is a super important setting, and I'm going to get back to this at the end once our scripts are installed to show you how this alters your tracking setup. This can be the source of endless pain for you if you're trying to do a tracking setup on SamCart and you don't understand why there's issues. Just keep this in mind. What this is a setting that allows you to, on purchase completion, either display a summary page that shows all the products someone's purchased and gives them links to access their products individually, or an auto redirect where you set up your own URL that redirects users. All right, so here we are in Google Tag Manager, and now we're going to get into what you guys are going to have to do in here to make make this tracking setup work. So the first thing is I'm going to use a predefined, pre-built container for Google Tag Manager. If you're not familiar with containers basically have all the tags, triggers, and variables you need to get your tracking setup running. So this specific container was built by Julian from Measure School. He has an amazing site, measureschool.com, and you can check out his YouTube channel as well. So Julian actually built a custom container specifically for SamCart. It's the one I use on all the setups that I'm running on SamCart. All the companies that have it, I trust it. It's amazing. I've used it with super high volume checkouts, so we're going to go with that. So if you have a container that's pre-built that you're going to upload, first thing you're going to do is head over to admin. We're going to go to, in our container section right here on the right, you're going to go to import container. For choose file, this is my samcart.json that's already downloaded. And again, I'm going to link below this in the video. I'm going to link to Measure School where you can get this container. And for choose workspace, I'm going to use my existing workspace, which is the default, and I'm just going to override the tag. We're going to start from scratch if you just had a brand new Google Tag Manager install. So I'm going to go confirm, and we're going to be set up here. I'm going to go to tags, and you guys will see all these main tags that we're going to have running. So we have the Facebook base pixel all pages tag. We have a Facebook product view tag, a Facebook transaction tag. We also have a Google Analytics enhanced e-commerce transaction tag and enhanced e-commerce view tag. And then we have the normal GA universal analytics all pages tag. Now we also have these Google Ads conversion tags and remarketing tags. I'm not going to get into those. We're just going to get into the Facebook and Google Analytics for this video. So in variables, the way that this container is set up is it already has a predefined variable for your Google Analytics ID. It's going to be right here, labeled UA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to come in here. You're going to want to change to your tracking ID. So I have mine over here. I'm going to grab that real quick. So my tracking ID, you guys can see right here, my UA ID. I'm going to come in and I'm going to switch that out. And there's a couple ways that you guys can do this. You can just switch that out and leave it, or you can come into the tags that are using it, which are going to be your Google Analytics tags, and you can come in here and right here, instead of using a variable, you can come in here and just switch out, create a new variable and define your own with your Universal Analytics ID, or you can change it over there. Both ways will work. It's a little bit easier if you only have to change it once. So you're going to change that out, and then we're going to come here. We're going to look at this Facebook base pixel. This Facebook base pixel is going to need my pixel ID because it is a default that's just used to get the account set up. So I'm going to grab my ID right here, and I'm going to drop that into this tag. And I'm going to save that. Okay, so once that's saved, we have everything we need to get Google Analytics and Facebook running, which we're gonna start with so I can show you how the events are gonna fire, and most importantly, how you can check to make sure that your funnel is working. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go submit. This is just gonna be initial setup 1, and I'm gonna publish that. And I'm gotta keep the Kanban board going. So I'm publishing that. That is good to go. And now I'm gonna head back over to my SamCart account. So if you guys recall, I have my 2 products, I have my 2 upsells, and I have my funnel. And what I wanna do is I wanna make sure that they're all tracking throughout the entire process. So the first thing that we did is we just installed the Google Tag. We just installed our Google Tag Manager container. And now the second thing that we need to do is install a custom upsell script. So again, this is part of the Google Tag Manager container install. This was designed by Julian at Measure School as well. You can see here, he created this, which I will also link to on Measure School, with really convenient, you have your variable names that you're gonna need to change for each one of these tracking scripts. And so what these upsell tracking scripts are used for is to fix a problem that SamCart has with their funnel tracking, which is the default funnel tracking on SamCart. It does not track upsells the same way that it tracks regular products. So basically in the back end of SamCart, its normal products and its bump offers in the funnels are tracked one way, and then upsells are tracked another way. And that causes a number of issues depending on the order of your funnel and how you're firing these tracking tags. So in order to get around that, this tracking setup actually sends information about the product that is on the page the user is viewing, and then when they take an action on that page, the event is recorded at that point. And in order to do that, we have to add a little bit of data to our upsell pages. So that's what this data layer push is doing. It's adding information on the back end about the products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into upsells. I'm going to click on editor. And we're going to go into this HTML editor section. What you're going to do is you're going to click source, and now you're gonna see the actual HTML code that we're gonna edit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop this upsell code in here. Now you guys will probably notice that by default, this upsell code doesn't have product names, product IDs, or product price. So what we're gonna have to do is get those pieces of information, not from the upsell themselves, but from the product that the upsell is built from. And what I mean by that is when you go in upsells on SamCart, you'll see that for the upsell, it has a product that it's attached. So for Attention Labs Upsell 1, Open Source 1 is the product it's attached. Similarly, for Attention Labs Upsell 2, Open Source 2 is the product that is attached. What we're gonna have to do is go grab all that information about both of these products for use in the upsell. So I'm gonna go back to this, I'm gonna open it, and I'm gonna get the product ID, the name, and the price. So the product ID you can find right up here in the URL. It's gonna be the short number that you see right up there. And real quick, I'm going to just duplicate this code so we can get both of the upsells in one shot here. So we're gonna grab this product ID, product name is Open Source 1, and the price is going to be $25. So we're gonna add those into the first script. I'm gonna go up here, product name, Open Source 1, product ID, I'm gonna drop the one that I copied from the URL, and the product price is gonna be 25. Okay, so similarly, we're gonna go back into products. I'm gonna open up Open Source 2. We're gonna do the same thing, product ID right here. We know it's Open Source 2 and we know it costs $50. So I'm gonna come down to the second script. Open Source 2. Product ID that I copied from the URL in the product editor. And the price is gonna be $50. So now that I have my two scripts, I'm gonna grab these. We're gonna go back to the upsells that were created from these products. So when I go back to upsells, first Attention Labs Upsell 1 that was created from Open Source 1, I'm gonna go back down to the editor, I'm gonna open up the HTML editor, and I'm gonna drop my first upsell tracking code in here. You guys can see Open Source 1, product ID, and my price, 25. Now this is a little bit strange behavior that SamCart has at this point because it's really finicky with the saves on this HTML editor. So when you come in here, you're gonna wanna make sure that you drop this code, you save it, you then click out of the HTML editor and you save it again. And you can come in here and check and see the code is still there. If you don't save it, exit the HTML editor to the text editor and then save again, it actually does not save. So I'm not sure what's going on with the SamCart product, but make sure that you double save in the HTML editor and then the text editor. So now we're gonna go back. We're gonna come back here to our second upsell. I'm gonna grab the second upsell script. We're gonna go in, we're gonna do the same thing. Open up the HTML editor, go to the bottom, drop in the code. I'm gonna click save. I'm then gonna go back out to the text editor and I'm gonna save a second time. Now I'm gonna go back out. So that's all we need for tracking scripts. What's gonna happen at this point is the way that we set up Google Tag Manager, this container with the data that's pulling from the data layer on SamCart and the additional data that it's building into that data layer, it's gonna automatically pull out all the information we need when we initiate a checkout or purchase a product or a bump offer. Now for upsells, we needed to add in that extra part, manually hard code that into the upsell, which we did in the HTML editor. So now we should have tracking across the whole funnel. So what I'm gonna do to test this is I'm gonna go back into my product 1. If you guys remember from the first video, or if you didn't see it, I'm gonna refresh you. Product 1 is the product that we have our funnel attached to. So when you go over here to upsells, you're gonna see that we already defined an entire funnel, which I labeled my first funnel, and we've now added it to our Open Source 1 products by going over to upsells and just selecting it right here. So when we go to purchase this product, it's gonna take us through the whole funnel, which will take us from Open Source 1 to Attention Labs 1, and then to an upsell Attention Labs 2. Or excuse me, from Open Source 1 to the upsell Attention Labs 2 for $50, and then to our downsell Attention Labs 1, which is $25. And we should see tracking events for all these things. So what I'm gonna do at this point is I'm gonna head over to Facebook and I'm gonna check to make sure that these these standard events are firing the way that they should. All right, I'm now in the Facebook Ads Manager for the account that I'm using, and I'm gonna show you how to get the diagnostic section of Facebook so that we can check all of these events. So I'm gonna go in here to Ads Manager, I'm gonna head over to Pixels. I'm now gonna see the pixel that I'm using for this account. When you see your pixel under data sources, go over and go to details. And then over here on the left side, you're gonna see this option to test events. So what we're gonna wanna do is click test events. It's gonna give us a section for a URL that we can drop in there. So I'm going to go back to my product. I'm going to go in the product with my funnel that I'm going to test. You can see that up here, it's switched to test mode. And now I'm going to click this preview icon to get a preview of the cart. So this is the cart page. So we can go ahead and drop that in the URL, or we can also drop the SamCart page. So in this case, I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to drop the SamCart page. Let's see if we can get this sorted. And okay, so it's already automatically detected that I'm in SamCart, and you can see that view content, part of the diagnostic that just came up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run through the funnel, and we're going to see what kind of events that we're getting with this setup. So I'm going to go here to preview the funnel. You can see that it's running in test mode, which allows you to do checkouts without having to actually interact with a payment processor. So I'm going to copy that test card, and for the names here, I'm just going to put in something random. Hopefully this person isn't constantly getting hit with fake checkouts. And I'm going to drop that credit card number right here. And for some reason, for their tests, you have to take all the spaces out. Not super fun. So we're going to take those out. I'm going to use a random verification number for the card, and then I'm just going to select some arbitrary date in the future. So we're now going to place this order. And what you'll see here is if you have a pixel helper for Facebook, you'll see those events firing. When we go over here to the diagnostic tool, what you're going to see is we have our second view content, and then it looks like we have 2 more view contents. So at this point, you might be wondering what's going on. Well, all that happened is we had I left the checkout and came back, so we had our second page view, and now we're having our third page view or view content event, because this would be the second upsell. Now, of course, I don't have a full page here. I just put this nice little note to myself, but this is my second higher price upsell. So you're going to see that reflected in the events here. This was the first time we went to those checkout pages. This was the first reload. And now this is the view content for my upsell too. And you're going to see these little warning signs. Don't worry, this has to do with the fact that I don't have a catalog built out for this Facebook account, which I can get into more later. But for now, let's just keep going through these events. So I go back to my checkout. I say, yes, I want to add this upsell to my order. If I said no, I would have been presented with the downsell. But in this case, I said, yes, I took the upsell. So that's it. Funnel's over. And you can see here my summary page with my 2 products for $75. Now, this is where you'll start to get some extra data from this setup. When you go in here to the purchase event, you're going to see $75 is showing up for both of my products. But just to give you a taste of some of the kind of data that you can send with a setup that's using the data layer in SamCart instead of just standard events, you can see here when I look at the currency, USD, content type product, and I go to more, you're going to see here that for contents, all the product IDs were stored into this array and then sent to Facebook. So this is really important if you're going to use products or product catalogs or anything like that. You need to have a way to communicate with Facebook what products people are looking at besides just whatever you decided to name them. And right here, you can see that we're getting that. We're getting the ID, the item price, and then the quantity for every product that someone checked out with. So with my 2 product store, this isn't super impressive. But when you have people that are buying a ton of different products and you want to see what combinations of products are most important, so you can do some little heavier data analysis on people's purchase behavior at checkout, this is going to be super useful and very important for you to have. Now, this is just one of the things that you can send, one piece of additional information, but it should give you an idea that you can start to get really detailed if you step away from Facebook standard events and you start to use the data layer and Google Tag Manager in your tracking setup. So this is now firing correctly. We're seeing that all our events are being sent through Google Tag Manager without having to use those standard events. At this point, we have the framework for a working Shopify, e-commerce checkout where we can do any types of upsells or downsells we want. And we're not going to have to worry about setting up custom code for each type of combination of upsells and downsells that we want. This is one of the parts of SamCart that can be really frustrating if it's not set up correctly. So I urge you to just try to understand if this is too much to jump into, just go and do the beginner setup, the video in part 1 of this video series, and then come back to this one. Okay, so now that we're close to the end of this video, I want to point out one really important thing that you need to keep track of. When we go into products here, what you're going to see is that in SamCart, when we go to, let's see here, product details, you're going to see this section for thank you page URL. And you can see that it says, this is the page your customers will redirect you after buying your product. So if you have a redirect going here, it's going to automatically take you to the redirect and you're not going to see an order summary page like this. Now, the issue with that is the way that SamCart is set up, their events firing by default depends on this order summary page. So if you choose to use a redirect, you enter the URL for the redirect in the product page, and then you turn on the setting for redirects, which I'm going to show you in a sec here. If you do all of that, it's going to bypass this entire part of the checkout, and it's not going to fire the events for tracking your products. Now, this is a pretty difficult problem because it doesn't seem that there is a way for SamCart to get around this issue with just the out of the box setup. And it's made even worse because they do have a feature in SamCart that's supposed to correct this issue, but for whatever reason on certain page redirects, it seems to not be able to correct the issue. So I'm going to get into exactly what that is and how you can set it up correctly right here. All right, so now I'm in the settings and I'm going to get into this section that can mess up your whole tracking setup in this last part of the video. So if you have your tracking set up, right here you're going to have the option to redirect to original product redirect URLs or display summary page with redirect links. Now, as I mentioned before, if you display summary page with redirect links, you're definitely not going to have a problem with your tracking because this SamCart's tracking is built around this summary page. It fires all the events and it makes it really easy for whatever tracking setup you have going to work. The problem is when you use this option right here. Click redirect to original product, redirect URLs. If you then have a URL in your product that it's going to send people to, oftentimes what will happen is that it'll redirect too quickly for the page to load all the tracking scripts. So your things like product purchase events will not fire. And I've seen this happen a number of times. So SamCart has a built-in workaround for this issue. You can see right here, they have the option, look, when I click display summary page with redirect links, that's it. There's no options. But as soon as you click redirect to original product, redirect URLs, you have this additional option to fire pixels before redirect. As you can see, it's optional. So if you turn this on, what it's supposed to do, you can read it right here, is before redirecting to your custom thank you page, we will attempt to fire your custom Facebook and Google pixels. This will cause a few second delay. Leaving this off will immediately redirect your thank you page without firing the pixels. So notice here in the language, they say, we will attempt to fire. What I've noticed is that attempt often fails. It doesn't work for most people if you have a redirect. It's going to skip over all your tracking pixels and it's not going to work. So what I would suggest you do is turn this off, use summary page with links until you're able to build your own workaround for this issue. And I would build one and then I would test it before you start running people through this checkout, because for most people, it's just going to skip unless you have a tested solution that you have built. The SamCart solution probably will not work for you. So I would stay on display summary page with redirect links to make sure that you don't have this problem. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. This is going to be the end of this video. Please let me know if you have any questions or anything else that you want to see on SamCart.